see you this morning. Glad to see our online friends. Hi, online friends. We're glad you're with us too. So today is one of those days when the lectionary texts talk to each other kind of loudly. Pastor Keith is going to talk about a part of the letter to the church in Colossae, which I hope I'm pronouncing right, from the book of Colossians, where the writer is explaining what it looks like to make welcome and peace with one another through Jesus. That's one of our New Testament texts today. But I couldn't resist the chance to visit one of my very favorite Bible stories that is also included in the lectionary this week. It comes from the book of Genesis. I wonder if we will be able to hear it talking to the story from Colossians as we continue in worship today. Listen carefully because you know this story, but I'm going to take some shortcuts because it's a long story. Are you ready? Okay. Abraham and Sarah lived in Ur. They believed that God was everywhere, but they did not know for sure. They went to a new place called Haran, and they found that God was there too. In fact, Abraham came close to God there, and God came close to Abraham, and God told Abraham that he and Sarah would become a great family that would bless many people. God also invited them to go to a new place that God would show them, and they did. They passed by Shechem, and God was there. They passed by Bethel, and God was there. And then they came to Hebron, and they made their home near the oaks of Mamre. God was there too. In fact, Abraham came close to God, and God came close to Abraham, and Abraham knew that God was telling him that he would become the father of a great family. And so Abraham and Sarah waited. Can you show me your waiting face? And they waited. And they waited. And then they got impatient. And then they waited some more. And then one day, something extraordinary happened. This is the part of the story that is in today's lectionary. 3 strangers came out from the desert. Abraham knew somehow that these visitors were God, and he did everything he could to make them feel welcome. Sarah made a whole lot of bread. She used 3 measures of flour. And she served them bread and meat and milk and water, as was the custom. And then the strangers told Abraham and Sarah the same thing that God had told them before, but in a more specific way, that soon they would have do you remember? A baby, a son. The strangers went back into the desert. And do you know what happened? Abraham and Sarah had a son, and they named him Isaac, which is the word for laughter in their language. Isaac had children, and his children 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 had children, on and on and on. And God's promise to Abraham and Sarah was true. Their family was as many as the stars in the sky and the grains of sand in the desert. And through their family, many people were blessed. Will you pray with me? God, thank you for stories. Help us to notice when we can make welcome and peace like Abraham and Sarah did this week. Amen.